Giant skeletons discovered around the world. Shock archaeologists. Imagine standing in front of a giant skeleton with sharp teeth and a strange structure that you've never seen before. How would it feel to realize that this is not a modern animal, but an ancient creature that existed millions of years ago? That is exactly what archaeologists felt when they discovered these giant skeletons. These skeletons, with sizes far beyond imagination, have been found scattered around the world, leaving archaeologists stunned and unable to believe what they were seeing. From dense forests to deep ravines, excavations have revealed huge fossils, causing the scientific community to ask a series of mysterious questions. How could these giant creatures have existed in the past, given their size compared to the creatures on Earth today? Could they be unknown species or part of a forgotten history? Each new discovery raises more questions about the unsolved mysteries of our planet. These skeletons are not only evidence of the existence of giant creatures, but also keys to unlocking new understandings of human and animal history on Earth. So, what have archaeologists discovered in recent years about these giant skeletons? Let's follow along in today's video. 18. Giant human skeletons in Wisconsin. Over a century ago, on May 4, 1912, archaeologists from Beloit College unexpectedly unearthed 18 giant skeletons at Delavon Lake, Wisconsin, buried in ash and clay. Due to their size, which was much larger than that of an average person, these skeletons became a topic of public debate and controversy among scientists at the time. Many hypotheses suggested that this was solid evidence proving the existence of giants, while others claimed they were remnants of extraterrestrials who had once visited Earth. Descriptions of these skeletons suggest that they stood between 8 to 10 feet tall, with skulls that were larger than any human race living in America today. They had double rows of teeth, 6 fingers, and 6 toes, much like humans from various ethnic groups. Their molars were especially uniform. Their heads were typically long, and it was believed that this might have contributed to their longer lifespan compared to ordinary humans. In fact, many ancient cultures around the world believed in the existence of giants. Even ancient texts like the Bible suggest that these mythological beings were real. Specifically, in Genesis 6:4, it mentions giants on earth, and later, the sons of God intermarried with human women to create a mighty and famous race in ancient times. Vine Deloria, a Native American author and law professor, pointed out that modern archaeology and anthropology have essentially shut down human imagination. He claimed that they generally explained that North America's past had nothing to do with abnormal phenomena, which were only recounted by the great figures of the giant culture. In the 19th century, explorers of ancient giant tombs from the Smithsonian Institution discovered an entrance through a burial site full of countless skeletons. This entrance, along with the items inside, was tightly sealed, and only government officials were allowed access. However, even government officials did not seem to be searching for the answers hidden within these bones. Yet, after the discovery of these skeletons, questions began to arise. Where did these skeletons come from? Were they intentionally hidden to avoid public knowledge? Interestingly, the place where these giant skeletons were found is famous for its unusually large skeletons, vastly different from those of ordinary humans or native people. In 1891, scientists from the Smithsonian discovered giant skeletons while excavating a pyramid tomb in the Madison area, which was also in Wisconsin. Strangely, these two vanished. The Smithsonian claimed they knew nothing about these skeletons or any other giant bones. However, there is evidence from a related news report showing that giant skeletons had been found across the American Midwest for nearly 100 years. Findings related to this were specifically documented in Minnesota, Ohio, Iowa, Indiana, Kentucky, and Illinois. Conspiracy theorists believe the government is hiding something and is not interested in discussing a giant race that may have lived in America centuries ago. But America was not the only continent to make such discoveries. Elsewhere in the world, researchers have also found skeletons believed to belong to a giant race. Although there is concrete evidence, many of these discoveries have been elaborate hoaxes, causing the genuine findings to be doubted. Another fascinating example is a 38 cm long finger found in ancient Egypt. The finger bone from this mummy left a deep impression, resembling a finger bone of a creature over 5 meters tall. But the interesting thing is that only a few people managed to photograph this bone in 1988, and it was published in the reputable European newspaper Bild. What about you? What do you think about this? Do you believe giants really existed or not? Giant human skeleton and a snake wrapped around it. Many countries have legends about giants. For example, Gaia, the goddess of the earth, created the giant titans. Odysseus in Greek mythology encountered giants on an isolated island. Fuxi, one of the three sovereigns, is also linked to giants, as his mother stepped on the footprint of a giant and gave birth to Fuxi. However, since the 1700s, with the continuous development of modern humans, stories of giants have gradually faded, and some scientists believe these giants only exist in legends. But with some archaeological discoveries related to giants, scientists are beginning to doubt whether giants could have actually existed. In particular, during previous excavations at the Khao Kanap Nam cave in Thailand, an archaeological team unearthed the skeleton of a man between 5 to 6 meters tall, alongside the remains of a giant snake. According to KBTV, the leader of the excavation team mentioned in an interview that Kanap is the first province in Thailand to discover human remains. Krabi province had previously discovered the world's first primate fossil, Semioithecus eocaunus, which dates back 35 million years. Although Semioithecus eocaunus is not considered an ancestor of humans, this discovery proves that Homo sapiens existed in Krabi and surrounding areas during the Paleozoic era. KBTV later interviewed Professor Niwat Watanayaporn from the Department of Science and Arts at Kasetsart University. Professor Watanayaporn stated, "Recently, there has been exciting news from the Khao Kanap Nam cave in Krabi province. The archaeological team found traces of giants and large animals in the Khao Kam cave, with traces of battles corresponding to the Krabi Naga legend. According to the legend, the giant Asura and the giant serpent Naga, the serpent god of India, both fell in love with a princess living there and fought to the death, eventually becoming the mountains on both sides of the Krabi River. This discovery confirms the Naga legend, which is an incredible find. These mysterious creatures are believed to have lived in two magnificent underground cities called Patala and Bhogavati, meaning the dwelling place of serpents." KBTV reports that the skeleton is nearly complete, with a full skull, rib cage, and leg bones. After the archaeological team verifies it, this will be the first complete giant skeleton seen since the 2004 tsunami, and the government has committed to providing full support for the archaeological work. However, some people argue that ancient giants are fictional, but let's not forget about Robert Pershing Wadlow, the tallest man in the world from Illinois, who stood at 2.72 meters tall. On this matter, some scientists have pointed out that in ancient times, Earth's atmospheric conditions were more suitable for the development of various life forms, and all organisms grew much larger. Plants could reach heights of nearly 100 meters, and dragonfly bodies could be as long as 70 centimeters, with giants being part of that natural evolution. 8-meter-long dinosaur skeleton found in China. In June 2021, Chinese paleontologists made an impressive discovery when they found the fossilized skeleton of an ancient dinosaur in Luxi County, Yunnan Province, in southwestern China. The skeleton, nearly 70% intact, measures almost 8 meters in length and is estimated to be about 180 million years old, dating back to the Jurassic period. This is an extremely rare find in paleontology, as discovering a nearly complete skeleton like this is considered highly unlikely. Wang Tao, the head of the Dinosaur Fossil Research and Conservation Center in Luxi City, stated that a complete dinosaur fossil like this is invaluable worldwide. Based on research and comparisons with previously discovered fossils, he and his colleagues believe this dinosaur to be a giant species called Lufengosaurus, which lived in the early Jurassic period. Lufengosaurus was a herbivorous, four-legged dinosaur, often referred to as the Lufeng lizard, and was one of the largest dinosaurs in the region at the time. This discovery is not only a scientific treasure, but also holds immense value for natural history. Wang Tao described this skeleton as a national treasure and stated that his research team hopes to soon excavate the dinosaur's skull to better understand the Lufengosaurus species. This will help scientists recreate the life of this dinosaur and provide valuable data on the evolution of prehistoric life forms. Giant skeletons in the Borjomi Mountains. In a remote area of the Borjomi Mountains in Georgia, scientists have discovered remains belonging to mythical creatures that had long existed only in local legends. Stories of giants, beings with extraordinary strength and immense size, had been passed down through generations, but few believed they were true. However, this discovery has shed light on the fact that these creatures were not mere figments of imagination, but part of actual history. According to scientists, the bones found date back as far as 25,000 years and belong to giants, beings who stood between 2.5 and 3 meters tall. Dr. Abesalam Vekua, a leading expert at the Georgian Academy of Sciences, described the discovery as unprecedented and said it would change the way we view the past of humanity. He noted, "Pay attention to the lumbar bones, which are completely different from those of modern humans in size and thickness. Their skulls were also much larger. This clear difference suggests that these beings evolved in isolation, with a body shape and structure completely distinct from modern humans." The legends of giants in the Borjomi region have existed for centuries, and now, with the discovery by scientists, those stories have found a factual basis. Locals, from shepherds to hunters, have shared tales of their ancestors encountering these strange creatures, powerful giants living in harsh mountainous regions. Mormon Shirakadze, a forestry worker, said he heard these stories from his grandfather and believed that only super-strong creatures could survive in such a harsh environment. The expedition, led by a team of archaeologists, paleontologists, and historians, ventured into remote mountain areas, crossing freezing streams and dangerous mountain ranges. After days of strenuous searching, they finally discovered a giant settlement where they found stone-paved roads and crumbling tombs. The bone fragments they collected were identified as remains of these giant creatures, revealed by spring waters that uncovered valuable artifacts. This is not the first time giant human skeletons have been found worldwide. In fact, similar excavations have occurred in various places, from the United States to other regions, but have often been hidden or overlooked. Researchers believe these discoveries challenge current evolutionary theories, as the giant skeletons are very ancient and contradict the theory that humans evolved from apes. This discovery raises new questions about the past of humanity and may become one of the most significant finds of the century. Complete skeleton of a giant sea dragon, found at the bottom of a lake. In 2022, a groundbreaking archaeological discovery was made at the bottom of Rutland Water in the Midlands, UK. The giant skeleton of a sea dragon species, Ichthyosaurus, measuring up to 9.7 meters long, was found and hailed as one of the most significant discoveries in the country's archaeological history. This skeleton is the most complete and largest ever found in the UK, with a skull weighing a ton, and is estimated to be around 180 million years old, from the Jurassic period. The discovery occurred when researchers drained water from Rutland Water to improve the local animal habitat. Joe Davis, 48, from Leicestershire and the Rutland Wildlife Trust, who was the first to spot the skeleton, shared, "When our team found the skeleton and used a crane to lift it, I was truly shocked. This dragon is enormous. I'm 1.8 meters tall, and I couldn't even imagine its size." Dean Lomax, an Ichthyosaurus expert from the University of Manchester, called it one of the greatest finds in the history of British paleontology. He said, "While many Ichthyosaurus fossils have been found in the UK, this is the largest and most complete skeleton and an unprecedented discovery." Ichthyosaurs were marine reptiles that appeared about 250 million years ago and went extinct 90 million years ago. They resembled dolphins and could grow up to 25 meters long. As carnivores, ichthyosaurs dominated the seas during the Triassic and Jurassic periods, reaching speeds of up to 36 km/h. Although they went extinct long ago, the discovery of this skeleton brings to life the image of these legendary creatures from ancient oceans. The 30-meter-long skeleton of a mysterious sea creature. Recently, a strange discovery at the bottom of the Mediterranean Sea has caused significant confusion for researcher Deborah Hatswell. She received a video clip showing oil industry divers discovering an almost intact giant skeleton at a depth of about 830 meters below sea level. The skeleton is 30 meters long and includes aligned vertebrae along with larger bones at one end. However, the strange part is that the structure of the skeleton does not match any known sea creatures in the area. Hatswell immediately shared the video on her personal YouTube channel, expressing her confusion and hoping to find answers from the community. She explained that the workers discovered the skeleton while exploring the seabed using a remotely operated vehicle, ROV. While Hatswell considered the possibility that the skeleton could belong to whales or giant oarfish, None of these match the bone structure found. Whales have 3 flat blades on their vertebrae, spaced 120 degrees apart, but this specimen only had 2. Meanwhile, the giant oarfish, currently the longest bony fish, only reaches a maximum length of 11 meters, whereas this specimen is 3 times that size. The divers involved in the discovery suggested that the skeleton might be ancient, possibly over 1,000 years old, as they noticed tentacles emerging from the mud. In the video, one of the workers attempts to collect bone samples using a robotic arm on the diving equipment, but the bones are fragile and break easily upon contact. Many internet users below the video have speculated that this could be the remains of a Tylosaurus, a giant marine reptile that lived during the late Cretaceous, about 75 to 86.5 million years ago. However, prehistoric animal bones that still exist today are usually preserved as fossils, making the origin of the skeleton still a mystery. The most perfect Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton in the world. On August 12, 1990, fossil hunter Susan Hendrickson made a discovery that changed history. While exploring a cliff near Faith, South Dakota, Hendrickson discovered enormous bones protruding from the ground. She had no idea that these were part of the skeleton of one of the world's most famous dinosaurs, Tyrannosaurus rex. The skeleton, which dates back 65 million years, was later named Sue after its discoverer. What makes Sue's skeleton special is its level of completeness. Over 90% of the skeleton remains intact and in excellent condition, making it the most complete Tyrannosaurus rex skeleton ever found. After this discovery, the Black Hills Institute of Geological Research paid $5,000 to the landowner for excavation rights. Once cleaned, the skeleton was transported to the institute's headquarters in Hill City. Although the institute initially planned to build a non-profit museum to display the skeleton, a legal battle over land ownership delayed the process for years. Finally, in October 1997, Sue's skeleton was auctioned off and sold to the Field Museum in Chicago for $8.36 million, making it the most expensive skeleton in history. Since being displayed at the Field Museum in 2000, Sue has attracted millions of visitors. With its massive size, standing nearly 4 meters tall at the hips and measuring 12.8 meters long, Sue leaves a powerful impression. Its skull is 1.5 meters long, weighs 907 kilos, and has 58 teeth, some of which are as long as a human forearm. Scientifically, Sue has provided researchers with valuable insights. Thanks to the well-preserved skeleton, scientists have determined that T-Rex had an exceptionally developed sense of smell, allowing it to detect carcasses from great distances. Additionally, Sue was the first T-Rex skeleton discovered to have a clavicle, which helps support the theory that birds are direct descendants of carnivorous dinosaurs. Today, Sue remains the most famous dinosaur skeleton, widely known not only in the US, but around the world. Every day, thousands of visitors from all over come to the Field Museum to marvel at this impressive skeleton, experiencing the wonder and wildness of the dinosaur era. 7,200-year-old fossilized skeleton. British scientists have uncovered a 7,200-year-old fossilized skeleton belonging to an unknown ethnic group on the island of Sulawesi, Indonesia. The skeleton was found in a cave called Liang Paningga, Bat Cave, where researchers discovered that a young woman, approximately 17 to 18 years old, had been buried in a fetal position, with part of her bones covered by rocks. This suggests a unique burial custom of ancient people. During their study of the skeleton, scientists also found stone tools, red ochre, a type of iron-rich stone often used for pigment production, and animal bones around the burial site. Researchers also noted that the fossilized skeleton displayed rare genetic traits, with about half of its gene structure linked to indigenous groups from Australia, New Guinea, and some Pacific islands. This raises questions about the connections between ethnic groups in the region. Using radiocarbon dating, scientists confirmed that the skeleton dates back to between 7,200 and 7,300 years ago, indicating the presence of an unknown ancient culture. This skeleton is believed to belong to the Toalean people, a hunter-gatherer group who lived in seclusion in the forests of South Sulawesi from about 8,000 to 1,500 years ago. They survived by hunting wild pigs and shellfish. Interestingly, although the Toalean culture has disappeared, the people living in Sulawesi today are primarily descendants of Neolithic settlers who arrived on the island from Taiwan about 3,500 years ago. This discovery opens a new door to understanding the history and ancient cultures of Southeast Asia, while also enriching the story of the biodiversity and cultural diversity of ancient communities. The lovers' skeletons in Modena. In 2009, researchers discovered two skeletons holding hands in Modena, Italy, sparking great interest in the scientific community. Initially, experts could not determine the gender of the skeletons due to their poor state of preservation. However, when modern methods were applied to test protein traces in the tooth enamel, the surprising result was revealed. Both individuals were male. This raised a big question about their actual relationship. These skeletons date from the 4th to the 6th centuries and were buried holding hands, indicating a special bond between them. Researchers from the University of Bologna speculated that burying these two men holding hands was a deliberate act, sending a powerful message of friendship, brotherhood, or another form of attachment. Federico Lugli, a well-known scholar, suggested they could have been brothers, cousins, or even warriors who died together in battle. Although their true relationship remains a mystery, another theory posits that this excavation site could be a cemetery for soldiers who perished together in a fierce battle. However, this remains a theory, and the true story is still unknown. Nonetheless, this discovery offers a fresh perspective on burial customs in Italy at the time and opens a new door to understanding social relationships and friendships in the past. This marks an important step in exploring the history and culture of ancient Italians, helping us better understand their rituals and habits from centuries ago. A couple embracing for 3,000 years in an ancient tomb. On July 14, 2018, an emotional archaeological discovery was announced in Ukraine, evoking the famous image from Victor Hugo's The Hunchback of Notre Dame, where two skeletons embrace at the story's conclusion. Two skeletons, one male and one female, were found in an ancient tomb near the city of Ternopil in western Ukraine, with an estimated age of around 3,000 years. What's remarkable is that not only were the two individuals embracing tightly, but they also carry a tragic love story. Further analysis revealed that only one of the individuals had passed away, while the other voluntarily entered the tomb, embracing their deceased partner and allowing themselves to be buried alive with them. This image brings to mind the story of Quasimodo and Esmeralda, characters from Hugo's famous novel. According to Professor Mykola Bandrivsky, director of the Transcarpathian branch of the Archaeological Conservation Service, this burial style reflects a gentle burial custom, showing deep respect and love in the prehistoric culture of the Vysotskaya people, also known as Wysoko. Studies of the two skeletons show that the man was lying on his back, facing the woman, while the woman lay sideways, her arms around him, with her legs crossed over his. Experts confirm that it would have been impossible to position the woman in that way if she had been dead, proving that she voluntarily chose to be buried alive with her beloved husband. Professor Bandrivsky speculates that the woman likely took poison to end her life peacefully so that she could remain with her love. This discovery offers a profound insight into the deep belief of the ancient Ukrainian people in the eternal life of the soul and eternal love. In Vysotskaya culture, marriage was not just a bond between two people, but a responsibility and a strong connection, sometimes even transcending death. A couple holding hands for 700 years in their grave. In Leicestershire, central England, archaeologists made an impressive discovery when they unearthed the skeletons of a couple in an ancient grave dating back around 700 years. These two skeletons were found at St. Morel Church, which was once an important pilgrimage site in the 14th century but no longer exists today. One of the skeletons belongs to an older man, who may have been killed in battle, likely struck with an axe. The other skeleton is that of a younger woman, buried with her legs pulled up to her chest, possibly having died from illness. This grave is part of a larger burial site containing 9 other bodies, all buried at St. Morel, a place known for its role in medieval pilgrimages. Additionally, archaeologists found several coins from the 11th to 15th centuries, consistent with the time when the church was still active. However, a significant question remains unanswered. Why was St. Morel chosen as the burial site instead of the main churches in the area? To address this, the research team proposed the theory that this might have been a place where pilgrims sought final rest, hoping to find peace in the sacredness of the church. Of course, this is still just a hypothesis, and more time is needed for researchers to provide a definitive answer. This discovery not only sheds light on burial customs in the medieval period, but also provides insights into the history and life of people during the Roman and medieval eras, opening the door for further study of cultural, religious, and social changes in this region over time. If you're passionate about uncovering the mysteries of the past, I think this discovery will definitely leave a strong impression on you. The eternal love of a couple, 2,800 years ago. In 1972, a team of archaeologists from the University of Pennsylvania unearthed several mummified remains at the Tepe Hasanlu site in the Solduz Valley, West Azerbaijan province, Iran. Among the discoveries, two skeletons embracing each other stood out, leading to widespread attention. The pair was later named the Hasanlu lovers. Their posture, still holding each other even in death, has been romanticized as a symbol of eternal love. Research suggests that the area was likely burned in an attack by rival factions, with people from both sides perishing in the conflict. The Hasanlu lovers were found in a gypsum container, possibly a hiding place for those involved in the fighting. They sought shelter there, but tragically died from smoke inhalation. When the remains were discovered in such an unusual position, they were quickly interpreted by the media and the public as a pair of lovers who lived and died together, still holding on to each other even as their bodies turned to ancient skeletons. However, the truth was quite shocking to many when scientists revealed their findings. According to the researchers, there is no certainty that the lovers were a male-female couple. It is likely that the Hasanlu lovers were two men. This suggests that same-sex love may have existed nearly 3,000 years ago. Through analysis of the pelvic bone and jaw, the skeleton on the right was confirmed to be a young male, between 18 and 22 years old. The identity of the person on the left remains unclear, but it is also likely to be male, and he died between the ages of 30 and 35. The nature of the relationship between these two individuals cannot be definitively determined, as their embrace before death does not necessarily confirm they were lovers. Despite ongoing debates, the posture of the two skeletons continues to captivate people. The 1,500-year-old lover's grave in China. A 1,500-year-old lover's grave, dating back to the Northern Wei period, 386 to 534 AD, was unexpectedly discovered at a construction site in the city of Taiyuan, Shanxi Province, China, last summer. Archaeologists were shocked when they found the skeletons of a man and a woman holding each other tightly in a simple ancient tomb. In the grave, the man lies on the left, with one arm extended to embrace the woman's abdomen, while the woman is positioned with her face resting on the man's shoulder and her left hand resting on his waist. She wears a simple silver ring on her finger. This evidence, along with their posture of holding each other tightly, led the archaeologists to believe they were a married couple. While researchers still do not know the identities of the couple or the exact cause of their death, there are some clues that suggest possible explanations. Thanks to the well-preserved skeletons, researchers determined that the man died at around 30 years of age and had an unhealed fracture in his right arm. Professor Wang, a paleobiologist at Texas A&M University, speculates that the man could have been a warrior. The woman, about 35 years old, appears to have had a problem with one of her wisdom teeth. As a result, researchers believe the couple were ordinary people from Northern Wei society. However, the question remains, why did they die in such an affectionate pose? Several hypotheses have been proposed, including one suggesting that the husband may have died first from illness and the wife may have committed suicide in order to be buried together with him, wishing to remain a couple even in the afterlife. According to Professor Wang, this hypothesis aligns with the values of the time. During the Northern Wei dynasty, romantic relationships were celebrated, and stories of tragic love similar to the Western tale of Romeo and Juliet were common. Professor Wang cited the folktale The Butterfly Lovers, in which a girl jumps into her lover's grave to die with him, and their souls transform into butterflies, flying out of the grave to be together forever. Professor Wang also pointed out that it was not uncommon in ancient China for multiple people to be buried together in the same tomb. In fact, in a cemetery with more than 600 graves excavated by the Shanxi Provincial Institute of Archaeology in June 2020, at least 2 other shared graves were found. However, the discovery of these 2 nearly complete skeletons holding each other in a loving embrace is unique and considered a remarkable discovery. It offers a rare glimpse into Chinese culture during this period. Teenage couple's skeleton, filled with gold in an ancient tomb. In 2019, archaeologists in Kazakhstan discovered the skeletons of a teenage couple dating back about 4,000 years. The two skeletons were found facing each other, a pose never before seen in ancient tomb excavations in the country. This young couple, believed to be around 16 or 17 years old, may have come from noble families. What attracted even more attention from researchers was the discovery of valuable items buried with them, including gold, copper, bracelets, necklaces, rings, and gold earrings on the girl's skeleton. Archaeologist Igor Kukushkin remarked that the discovery was especially striking due to the couple being found in the position of facing one another, symbolizing eternal love. One theory suggests that before their deaths, the couple may have been in love and decided to be buried together, wishing to be together forever. However, the cause of their deaths remains a mystery, sparking curiosity among researchers. Interestingly, near the couple's tomb, another tomb believed to belong to a nun was also discovered. She was buried with 7 jars, cremated remains, and a skull. While the surrounding tombs had been looted, the nun's tomb remained undisturbed. This oddity led archaeologists to speculate that there might have been something in the tomb that scared the tomb robbers. Additionally, the number 7 has special significance in ancient cultures, adding to the mystery. Kazakhstan has long been known as a treasure trove for impressive archaeological discoveries. In 2018, a 2,800-year-old treasure of gold jewelry was unearthed in the Tarbagatai Mountains, containing 3,000 gold items. This treasure is believed to have belonged to royalty or a noble tribe from ancient times. As such, these discoveries ensure that Kazakhstan remains a hotspot for archaeological research, providing valuable insights into ancient civilizations and the lives of people from thousands of years ago. Couple in a sexual position. Recently, South Korean archaeologists announced the discovery of a tomb dating back to the 5th to 6th century, during the Silla dynasty, 57 BC to 935 AD. In the tomb, the skeletons of a young woman and a man in his 20s to 30s were found in a sexual position. Experts also found numerous pieces of evidence to confirm that the tomb, made of earth and stone, belonged to the woman, and the man had been killed to be buried with her. The woman was buried on her back, facing upward, wearing intricately designed gold earrings, while the man's skeleton lay next to her, with some of his bones placed over her body. Additionally, in a separate room near the tomb, archaeologists from the Silla Heritage Research Foundation discovered valuable artifacts, including a sword, a set of horse riding gear, and pottery. Based on these findings and historical records from the Silla dynasty, archaeologists speculate that the woman came from an upper-class background, knew how to ride horses, and used weapons. According to South Korean archaeologist Kim Kwon-il, the discovery of a man being buried as a sacrificial offering alongside a woman is rare, but it is not the first such find in Korea. However, men are usually buried in separate rooms with artifacts, like a guardian figure, and rarely in the same tomb as the woman. According to Yonhap news agency, some historians suggest that the man and woman may have been arranged in a position to reenact the sexual act of a married couple, as the man's femur and tibia were found on the woman's head. However, other researchers argue that the two were not buried in a sexual position and propose the theory that the man was placed in a coffin above the woman's body, which decayed over time. Ancient couple in an intimate position for 4,500 years. In 2016, archaeologists and scientists from India and South Korea excavated an ancient tomb in northern Haryana, India. What amazed the research team was the discovery of 2 human skeletons in the tomb. After 2 years of analysis, the team uncovered the origins of these ancient individuals. The researchers found that the 2 skeletons, dating back 4,500 years, belonged to a man and a woman. The couple was placed in an intimate position, leading archaeologists to believe they were a couple who died at the same time. However, the exact cause of their death remains a mystery awaiting scientific explanation. The man was estimated to have died around 35 years of age, while the woman was only 25. Both had exceptional height for the time, over 1.7 meters, and appeared to have had strong, healthy bodies. Tests showed no signs of trauma, fractures, or abnormalities in the skull bones, ruling out head injuries or encephalitis. Archaeologists also noted that the fact the couple was buried together in this tomb did not reflect the customs or traditions of the society at the time. They believe that, since the two passed away at the same time, it was natural for them to be buried together. The research team speculates that the mysterious couple lived in a large residential area with more than 10,000 people. The tomb was located under a half-meter deep sandpit among 70 tombs found at a cemetery only 1 kilometers from the present-day settlement. Lovers' skeletons on Mount Chua Chan, Vietnam. On the evening of May 29, 2018, in Xuân Xuân Hamlet, Xuân Trung Commune, Dong Nai Province, Vietnam, locals accidentally discovered two complete skeletons in a cave located about 400 meters above sea level on Mount Chua Chan. The position of the two skeletons was only about 3 meters from the cave entrance. Alongside the skeletons, several personal items were found, including clothing, belts, sandals, a glass medicine bottle, and a large cup. After the discovery, the local residents informed the authorities to begin an investigation. Upon receiving the report, the Dong Nai Provincial Police, along with the Xuân Loc District Police, Xuân Trung Commune Police, and other relevant units, quickly arrived at the scene to conduct an examination and investigation. Authorities stated that although the identities of the two individuals have not been definitively confirmed, based on local information, they are believed to be two people who went missing in 1992. According to local accounts, the couple was a young man and woman who had run away from home due to family objections to their relationship. Despite their family's efforts to search for them, the case remained a mystery for many years. One theory is that the couple may have sought refuge in the cave to escape their family's control, possibly encountering an accident or some misfortune. After the discovery, the police invited the relatives of the missing couple to the scene for identification. Bone samples were also sent for DNA testing to confirm the identities of the two skeletons. The case attracted widespread public attention, evoking sympathy for the young couple and their tragic love story. 8,000-year-old lovers' skeletons. Last weekend, an impressive archaeological discovery was made at the Hakemi Yus excavation site in Diyarbakir Province, southeastern Turkey. Archaeologists uncovered the skeletons of a couple buried in an ancient house deep beneath the Earth's surface. The couple is thought to consist of a man around 30 years old and a woman around 18, possibly husband and wife or lovers. Dr. Halil Tekin, the lead archaeologist from Hacettepe University in Ankara, suggests that they may have been members of the ancient Hasunan community, a tribe that once lived in northern Iraq. Although carbon dating results are not yet official, the skeletons are estimated to be around 8,000 years old. If this estimate is accurate, these Turkish lovers could be much older than the famous Italian lovers of Modena, whose remains date back only around 2,000 years, as we explored earlier in the video. What they all share is an eternal love, still embracing each other even in death. Dr. Tekin believes the posture of the skeletons suggests they were likely husband and wife, or at least lovers. He speculates that a deadly disease or a possible murder plot could have led to their deaths. However, some experts are skeptical of this theory. Dr. Lamberg Karlovsky from Harvard University argued that interpreting the two skeletons as embracing is a forced and inaccurate assumption. Bronze Age treasure. In 2020, Turkish scientists, while conducting an expedition off the coast of the Bozburun Peninsula in Mogla Province, discovered a collection of artifacts nearly 4,000 years old. This is one of the most significant archaeological discoveries in Turkey's shipwreck inventory project. On the Race exploration vessel, the researchers found hundreds of historical artifacts described as an underwater treasure of ancient civilization in the southwestern waters of the country. The artifacts included pottery, metal objects, jars, cups, balance scales, cooking pots, and axes, all dating back to the 18th century BC during the Middle Bronze Age. According to Dr. Harun Ozdas, the lead author of the study from the Institute of Technology and Marine Science at Dokuz Eylül University, this is the largest collection of underwater ceramics ever found in Turkey. These artifacts were discovered at depths ranging from 3 to 30 meters below the water's surface, showcasing the richness and diversity of the culture of that time. Notably, the analysis indicated that these objects date back to the same period as the Minoan sailing ships, a flourishing ancient civilization on the island of Crete and the Aegean Sea. This discovery suggests the possibility of a maritime trade route linking Crete, Rhodes, and the Bosporan Peninsula to famous ancient cities such as Iassos, Miletus, Ephesus, Troy, and the Aegean. The secret graveyard beneath the sea. Located 20 meters deep beneath the ocean at Fuencaliente on the southern coast of La Palma, Spain, a secret graveyard has fascinated viewers. Except for professional divers, very few tourists are aware of this hidden site. Behind this graveyard lies a tragic story. It is said to have been built in memory of 40 monks who were thrown into the sea 450 years ago. Upon exploring deeper into the graveyard, one can see the presence of 40 crosses, each representing one of the murdered monks. Returning to the story of the past, in 1570, these monks met their fate while on a missionary journey. Unfortunately, their ship was attacked by pirates as they approached France. Afterward, they were killed and thrown overboard. This secret graveyard was only constructed about 20 years ago to honor the deceased. While this area attracts many tourists for its beaches, most are completely unaware of the tragic story beneath. This is not the only underwater graveyard in the world. Off the coast of Miami, Florida, the Neptune Memorial Reef was built as a final resting place for those who love the sea. However, the purpose of this graveyard is entirely different from the one in Spain. At the Neptune Memorial Reef, if desired, the deceased can choose a specific location here, rather than just having their ashes scattered at sea. They can even have a gravestone with their name, birth, and death dates, along with a statue and cross. It is known that this cemetery is inspired by the lost city of Atlantis, which is said to have been located off the coast of the Atlantic Ocean. Bimini Road. Located off the coast of the Bahamas, the seafloor in the northern part of Bimini contains a mysterious structure known as the Bimini Road. Is this a natural formation or a man-made structure? This question continues to spark debate among experts, as many studies suggest that the road bears significant evidence of human intervention. For example, there are clear angles, approximately 10 stone slabs of similar size, ranging from 3 to 14 meters, arranged in a specific pattern that stretches into a straight line. Additionally, there are marks of carving and holes where ropes may have been threaded through the surface of the stones. The Bimini Road is believed to have formed around 10,000 years ago, but the true purpose of this enigmatic structure remains unclear. Could there be an ancient, mysterious civilization buried deep beneath the ocean that we have yet to discover? This remains a question that awaits answers from scientists. The Mary Rose Shipwreck. Built during the reign of King Henry VIII, the ship was a symbol of English naval power at the time. However, on July 19, 1545, during a battle with the French fleet in the North Sea near the Isle of Wight, the Mary Rose suddenly sank, resulting in the death of more than 500 sailors and royal troops while King Henry VIII was commanding the attack. Only about 30 people survived from the hundreds aboard the ship. This is perhaps one of the most tragic stories in military history. After sinking, the Mary Rose remained silent on the seafloor for nearly 500 years. It wasn't until 1982 that the Mary Rose Museum in Portsmouth launched a complex archaeological project to recover the shipwreck. This is considered one of the most difficult and expensive archaeological projects in history. After many years of work, the team not only successfully restored the ship, but also displayed thousands of valuable artifacts, from weapons and naval tools to shipwreck debris, offering a deeper insight into the lives of 16th century sailors. Most notably, during the excavation, archaeologists discovered approximately 9,000 skeletons, though not all of them were identified. Dr. Anne Sterland, a bioarchaeologist, analyzed the remains and was able to reconstruct most of the skeletons quite well. These skeletons helped establish the minimum number of individuals aboard the ship, with an initial estimate of 179 people. Further studies, including genetic analysis, aDNA, and pathological research, have provided a deeper understanding of the lives of sailors and the diseases they may have contracted. In addition to human remains, archaeologists also found interesting traces of animals, such as the complete skeleton of a dog named Hatch, a breed similar to the modern Jack Russell. Furthermore, food traces like cod bones from Newfoundland and salted meat suggest that the Mary Rose was part of a global trade network of that time. These discoveries not only help to reconstruct a part of history, but also offer a deeper look into the hardships and survival of ancient sailors. To this day, the Mary Rose and its artifacts on display at the museum continue to attract the attention of visitors and researchers, helping us to better understand an important part of naval history and the lives of people during the Renaissance period. If you have the chance, you can visit to explore more about it. The wrecked ship 3 times. In 1863, the submarine H.L. Hunley set sail during the American Civil War for its first underwater mission. The mission of the Southern Confederate Navy crew was to break the Union blockade of Charleston Harbor. However, the submarine sank during its first mission, and this was not the only time it met this fate. 3 attempts were made to recover the H.L. Hunley from the ocean floor. The recovery team believed that the submarine sank the first time because it became entangled in ropes, pulling it under. After repairs, the Hunley set sail again, but one crew member failed to properly close an important valve, causing the entire submarine to flood and sink for a second time. Later, the H.L. Hunley was recovered again, repaired, and sent out on another mission in 1874. But immediately after sinking the Union ship USS Housatonic, the Hunley disappeared once again under mysterious circumstances. No one knows what caused its third disappearance in 1874. It wasn't until 131 years later, in 1995, that the Hunley was found deep beneath the ocean, but by then it was rusted and shattered. The recovery process proved difficult, and it wasn't until 2000 that researchers successfully brought the submarine up and began studying it. However, due to the severe damage to the hull, experts feared that some crew equipment and artifacts might still be at the bottom of the ocean. They carefully explored the submarine, hoping to uncover priceless items inside. But since then, the findings and details about the submarine have been kept secret. The Vasa warship and the 20-minute mission. On August 10, 1628, Sweden's Vasa warship set sail. The ship, approximately 69 meters long, was equipped with 64 heavy cannons, making it a formidable warship. However, its maiden voyage did not last long. The main reason was its oversized design. Less than 20 minutes after leaving port, a strong gust of wind tilted the Vasa to one side. Unfortunately, the ship's heavy cannons, its massive size, and the total weight of the 250 crew members on board caused the vessel to sink to a depth of about 32 meters. Centuries later, archaeologists found parts of the ship's hull, along with 40,000 artifacts from the wreckage. Explorers spent 3 decades cataloging the various artifacts. In 1990, the Vasa Museum in Stockholm, Sweden, displayed the historic ship in all its magnificent glory for the public to admire. Despite the Vasa's short journey, Sweden still considers it an important achievement of the country. The ancient city of Heracleion. The ancient city of Heracleion, one of history's great mysteries, was once a subject of lively discussion among ancient Greek philosophers, including Herodotus. However, the existence of Heracleion remained an enigma until the 19th century, when traces of it had been forgotten for thousands of years. The city was believed to be an important center of trade and religion, located at the mouth of the Nile in Egypt. But after some mysterious event, Heracleion sank to the bottom of the sea and disappeared from the map. Everything changed in 2000, when ocean archaeologist Frank Gaudio led a 3-year expedition beneath the Mediterranean Sea. After much effort and research, his team discovered the ancient city near the coast of Alexandria, Egypt, in an area previously known only as a murky sea. The findings from this excavation have unlocked many mysteries about Heracleion, allowing us to better understand its glory and disappearance. From giant stone columns and massive statues of pharaohs to religious artifacts and architectural remains, everything underscores Heracleion's importance during the golden age of ancient civilization. Notably, archaeologists also discovered coins, pottery, and goods from different cultures, reflecting the cultural exchange and interaction between Greek, Egyptian, and other civilizations. Heracleion is no longer just a lost city. Thanks to discoveries beneath the sea, we now have a clearer view of the mysteries surrounding a civilization that once existed. This discovery not only sheds light on Heracleion's history, but also opens the door to further exploration of other ancient cities and legendary empires that have long disappeared but still leave a powerful mark in human memory. The skeleton of a dragon under the Mediterranean Sea. In 2017, a bizarre discovery beneath the Mediterranean Sea sparked rumors about the appearance of a legendary dragon. A diver, using a remotely operated robot, discovered a massive skeleton at a depth of 830 meters below sea level. What made this skeleton so intriguing was its shape and size, leading many to believe that it could be evidence of a mythical dragon. A video showing the robot approaching and capturing footage of the almost intact skeleton with an unusually long spine quickly spread across social media. After the video was posted by Deborah Hatswell, a researcher of strange phenomena, public debate about the identity of the skeleton erupted. Some believed it could be a dragon, while others suggested it was a giant serpent. A third group speculated that it might be the skeleton of a whale based on the structure of the bones and the number of vertebrae. However, the lack of a skull has kept these hypotheses unconfirmed. The skeleton has at least 7 vertebrae, along with 2 scale-like bones, which led many to believe it could be a mammal. Although the robot was able to approach the skeleton, the diver stated that the bones were very fragile and easily broken upon contact, so he was unable to take a sample. According to the person who discovered the skeleton, it could be from an animal that sank to the ocean floor about 1,000 years ago, as he also noticed many ancient amphorae nearby. A biologist who reviewed the video hypothesized that the skeleton might belong to a Tylosaurus, an extinct marine lizard. However, to definitively identify the skeleton, scientists would need to take a sample, which has proven difficult due to the robot's inability to safely handle the bones. The mysterious rocks under Lake Michigan. Although not discovered at the bottom of the sea, this finding is still significant enough to be included in the list. Mark Hawley, an archaeology professor, and his friend Brian Abbott found something strange beneath Lake Michigan using sonar equipment. As they approached, they realized that the formation consisted of stone columns aligned in a perfectly straight line, spaced evenly apart, almost as if arranged by human hands. This discovery immediately reminded many people of similar stone formations found in England and France. Continuing to dive deeper into Lake Michigan, they were astonished to find a mysterious rock with carvings depicting a mammoth, along with some modern car details and several other strange symbols. The discovery of this carving meant that it must have been made when mammoths had not yet gone extinct. But how could ancient people have known about modern cars millions of years ago to carve them into rocks? To this day, this remains a big question that continues to puzzle scientists. The ancient luxurious city under the sea in Italy. Archaeologists recently uncovered a mysterious city with many luxurious structures dating back 1,700 years, deep beneath the waters of Naples, Italy. Remarkably, this was once the home of the ancient Roman nobility, including famous figures such as General Julius Caesar, Emperor Nero, military leaders Pompey and Marius, and Emperor Hadrian. Archaeologists believe that the city sank beneath the sea due to volcanic activity, which caused the coastline to suddenly subside by about 400 meters, raising the water level and submerging the entire city. Surveys show that many of the city's ancient architectural structures are still relatively intact despite being submerged for over 1,000 years. Dr. Barbara DeVita, along with scientists from around the world, compiled a document called Secrets Submerged in Rome. This document details the size of the villas, priceless statues intricately carved, hot spring spas, cobblestone roads, and even a nympheum, the entertainment area for the elite located about 241 kilometers south of Rome. To this day, scientists are still working to unravel the mysteries of this grand structure built by the ancient Romans, but how long it will take to find answers is uncertain. The mysterious rows of holes. Over a dozen mysterious holes, appearing as if arranged in a line, were discovered by remotely operated vehicles at a depth of 2.6 kilometers in the Azores region near Portugal's coastline. Scientists had previously found similar traces but have not yet been able to explain what these mysterious holes are or how they came to be. They temporarily refer to them as Lebensspuren, a German term meaning traces of life, implying that they may have been created by living organisms. In fact, similar marks were first discovered on the ocean floor about 20 years ago, but opinions on their origin are still highly divided. Some believe they were man-made. Others claim they could be signals from extraterrestrials. Some have even suggested, could they be marks left by submarines? Or are they breathing holes of a sea creature that buries itself deep in the sand? According to Dr. Vecune, an expert at NOAA, something is happening, but we are yet to decipher it. There are many mysteries surrounding the rows of holes on the ocean floor we have just discovered in the Azores. Scientists from the Norwegian Marine Research Institute think these could have been made by marine creatures as they move or swim over the sediment. They might also be holes created by sea creatures burrowing under the sand and then poking up through it. What do you think these mysterious rows of holes represent? Could there be another secret behind them that we have yet to fully uncover? The Underwater Museum of Mystery. You might find it hard to believe what you're seeing, but this is an actual piece of art from a unique museum that models a miniature society covering 420 square meters on the ocean floor. It is called the Cancun Underwater Museum. This museum is considered the largest of its kind on Earth, attracting more than 750,000 visitors annually. The museum features over 500 life-size human sculptures based on various humanistic and fascinating themes, such as greed or the simple life of fishermen. These statues are entirely displayed underwater in Cancun, Mexico, making it a perfect destination for those seeking a daring exploration adventure. The Crystal Pyramid, hidden beneath Bermuda. The Bermuda Triangle, one of the most mysterious regions in the world, has long intrigued people with the unexplained disappearances of ships and aircraft. However, few are aware that beneath the deep ocean may lie a terrifying secret involving enormous crystal pyramids. According to some theories, these pyramids could be the main cause of the disappearances in this area. These pyramids, reportedly 3 times the size of the Great Pyramid of Giza, are located 2,000 meters beneath the surface of the Bermuda Triangle. Experts believe these pyramids were originally built on land, but were submerged due to a devastating earthquake that altered the landscape. While there is no definitive evidence of the pyramids' purpose, they could be the reason behind the mysterious vanishings of numerous planes and ships in the region. It is also speculated that these pyramids are evidence of the lost city of Atlantis. These pyramids may generate whirlpools near the surface, pulling ships and planes down into the depths. Notably, observations of some submerged pyramids show they create strong water vortices around them. It is possible that the energy within the pyramids is being released, generating these whirlpools. If these pyramids discharge energy like this at the surface, it could explain the formation of dangerous whirlpools in the ocean, capable of swallowing ships and crews. Could these discoveries help solve the mystery of the thousands of vehicles that have disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle? While the answer is uncertain, it is clear that future explorations of these pyramids could bring us closer to uncovering ancient technologies, possibly lost thousands of years ago. World War II airplane, still intact under the sea. On August 12, 2017, tourists visiting the Micronesian islands of Palau, located in Oceania, were stunned to discover a World War II-era aircraft. According to the Daily Mail, this plane was an Aichi E-13A, a Japanese seaplane designed for long-range maritime reconnaissance missions during the war. The plane is believed to have crashed and fallen into the sea during the conflict, and after more than 70 years, it remains intact on the ocean floor. The plane was discovered in a shallow area off the coast of Palau, and what amazed many people was that it had retained its nearly original shape after decades underwater. The plane's wings are still firmly attached to the fuselage, an astonishing sight when it comes to airplane wrecks on the ocean floor. After a photo of the aircraft was shared on social media, many expressed their amazement and admiration. One reader commented, "This looks like something out of a movie. It's unbelievable." Some even speculated that if the pilots had perished on the plane, they may have passed peacefully because the scenery was so beautiful and serene. However, there were also opposing views. One reader expressed dissatisfaction upon seeing 2 tourists kayaking near the wreckage, saying, "To me, kayaking next to a plane wreck is disrespectful to the pilots who sacrificed their lives." Meanwhile, Paul Beaver, a renowned aviation historian, stated that the plane was an Aichi E-13A, a special Japanese seaplane, and he called it a true monster. The plane had lost its float, but still retained many intact details despite the damage. Palau, where the plane was discovered, is a famous tourist paradise with over 500 islands and pristine, picturesque landscapes. It's not only an ideal location for nature lovers, but also a place that attracts those who wish to explore the history and remnants of World War II mysteries. The 13th century ghost town. The village of Fabrice di Caragine is located in Garfagnana, in the province of Lucca, Tuscany, Italy. This ancient town from the 13th century was abandoned in 1947 due to the construction of a dam on the Edron River. The dam created the artificial reservoir of Lake de Vagli, which serves purposes such as hydroelectric power generation and water storage for the region in case of fires. In that year, Lake Vagli was flooded, and all the inhabitants were forced to leave Fabrice di Caragine and move to the new town of Vagli di Sotto, located in the neighboring area of the lake. The village, dating back to the 13th century, gradually disappeared and became known as a ghost town. According to Visit Tuscany, the remains of houses, architectural structures, and streets of Fabrice di Caragine lie beneath 34 million cubic meters of water, making the opportunity to explore this abandoned town very rare. The last time the village emerged from the deep lake was in 1994. At that time, thousands of people flocked to Fabrice di Caragine to walk along its streets. Photographs taken show that beneath the water, the stone houses, cemetery, bridge, church, and bell tower of the village remained intact. The ship that sank 3 times. In 1863, the submarine H.L. Hunley set sail during the American Civil War to begin its first underwater journey. The mission of the crew, part of the Confederate Navy, was to end the Union blockade of Charleston Harbor. However, the submarine sank during its first mission attempt, and this was not the only time it met such a fate. 3 attempts were made to recover the H.L. Hunley from the seabed. The recovery team believed that the submarine sank the first time because it became entangled in ropes and was dragged underwater. After repairs, the Hunley set out again, but one of the crew members failed to close an important valve, causing the submarine to flood and sink a second time. The H.L. Hunley was recovered again, repaired, and sent on another mission in 1874. However, after successfully sinking the USS Housatonic, a Union ship, the Hunley sank for a third and final time, for reasons that remain unclear. No one knows what caused the Hunley's disappearance in 1874. It wasn't until 131 years later, in 1995, that the Hunley was found deep beneath the ocean, but what remained was corroded and shattered. The recovery effort was difficult, and it wasn't until 2000 that researchers successfully raised the submarine and began their investigations. However, due to the extent of the damage to the hull, experts feared that some of the crew's belongings and equipment might still lie on the ocean floor. They carefully explored the ship in hopes of discovering invaluable artifacts inside. 2,000-year-old artifact worth more than gold. A large shipwreck, never before seen, has been discovered by scientists near the Fiscardo fishing port off the coast of Kefalonia Island in Greece, located in the Mediterranean Sea. The ancient ship, which archaeologists have recorded as being 34 meters long and 12.6 meters wide, was carrying a crew and many valuable artifacts. What most astonished archaeologists was the discovery of 6,000 well-preserved jars of wine, so well kept that some have speculated divine intervention might have been involved. The entire batch of wine is preserved in amphorae, ceramic vessels with large handles and sealed with stoppers. Greek researchers say the ship dates back to the Roman era, between 146 BC and 330 AD, around the time of the birth of Jesus Christ. They suggest that the wine, preserved beneath the sea, is more precious than gold, with some even questioning whether modern people could taste such high-quality wine that has been aged for thousands of years by the ancient world. The ancient Romans had methods for preserving food, such as using honey and salt as preservatives to keep food from spoiling longer. They also knew how to pickle food, make smoked meats, and ham to prolong freshness. Common storage containers included barrels, amphorae, ceramic jars, and clay pots. Pavlopetri ruins in Greece. One of the oldest submerged urban ruins in the world is Pavlopetri, located beneath the Mediterranean Sea near Laconia in Greece, with an estimated age of 5,000 years. Some believe that Pavlopetri holds a resemblance to the ancient city of Atlantis described by Plato, as it predates the legend of Atlantis. The ancient city of Pavlopetri was discovered in 1967 by Nicholas Fleming, and later excavated by a team of archaeologists led by him at the University of Cambridge in the UK. It was a groundbreaking discovery for researchers studying the Stone Age and Bronze Age. The Pavlopetri site is truly unique, with main streets, buildings, gardens, stone tombs, and religious structures all clearly visible beneath the sea, Fleming said. What happened to the ancient city of Pavlopetri to turn it into a pristine piece of human history? There is a theory that the city sank due to an earthquake or a tsunami, but in any case, the city has never resurfaced and could not be rebuilt, which helped it preserve its values perfectly beneath the sea. 900-year-old treasure at the bottom of Haifa Bay. While diving in Haifa Bay in the Mediterranean, Shlomi Katzin, an amateur diver, unexpectedly discovered a valuable sword from the Crusades. The sword is at least 900 years old and about 1 meter in length. Despite being covered in marine organisms and submerged for over 900 years, the sword was in remarkably good condition. Kobe Sharvit, an expert with the Israel Antiquities Authority, IAA, stated that the sword was buried in sand and covered in marine life, making it difficult to detect even though it was only about 3 meters deep. A change in the current eventually swept away the thick layer of sand, revealing the sword. According to archaeologists, the sword likely belonged to a Crusader knight. The Crusades were a series of religious wars that took place between 1095 and 1291. Crusader knights came from all over Western Europe, and at the Pope's call, they waged continuous wars to reclaim Jerusalem, the Holy Land of Christianity, which was under Muslim control. Shlomi Katzin also found other artifacts near the sword, including stone anchors and pottery. He reported his findings to the IAA, fearing the artifacts would be stolen if left on the seafloor. The IAA declared, "This is a beautiful, rare sword found in perfect condition. Aside from its age, its historical value makes it a priceless treasure in the history of human archaeology." The 7,000-year-old road. Recently, archaeologists made an exciting discovery off the coast of Korčula Island in Croatia, an ancient road linked to a lost maritime culture known as the Var civilization, whose people inhabited the region during the Neolithic period. This remarkable discovery was made by Igor Borzic, a researcher at the Department of Archaeology at the University of Zadar. The road was found after Borzic detected unusual structures about 4.57 meters underwater in Gradina Bay on the western coast of Korčula. Along the road, the research team found flint blades, stone axes, and millstone fragments, furthering our understanding of the mysterious Var people who lived in the area around 7,000 years ago. Numerous underwater ruins and artifacts from the Var civilization have been discovered, including a settlement built on an artificial island. The recently discovered road served as a link between this island and the mainland of Korčula. The Var civilization left behind many artifacts, including ornaments and pottery, shedding light on their subsistence farming practices and burial rituals. Excavations are not limited to underwater surveys, but also extend to ancient sites on land. One such site is a cave near the town of Vela Luka, which has been continuously inhabited by various cultures for at least 19,000 years, including the Hvar people. Ongoing archaeological research promises to reveal more fascinating details about the maritime civilization that thrived in the region thousands of years ago. Slave shipwreck. A steam-powered ship with paddle wheels was discovered at the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico, about 2 nautical miles off the town of Sisal in Yucatan, in 2017. It wasn't until 3 years of research that archaeologists identified the wreck as the slave ship La Unión. The ship sank on September 19, 1861, while transporting Maya people sold into slavery to Cuba, proving that slavery persisted in Mexico despite its abolition in 1829. La Unión had been used for the illegal transportation of slaves from 1855 to 1861, during a time when the Maya were forced to work unpaid on sugar plantations, leading to a rebellion known as the Caste War. Archaeologist Helena Barba Meinica stated that the ship would transport 25 to 30 slaves to Cuba every month. Each slave was sold for 25 pesos, equivalent to $1.18, to the traders, and then resold to plantation owners in Havana for much higher prices, about 160 pesos for men and 120 pesos for women. Experts have determined that the cause of La Union's sinking was an explosion in its boiler, which set the ship on fire. The accident resulted in the deaths of half of the 80 crew members and 60 passengers. However, it is unclear how many Maya people perished, as at that time they were listed as cargo, not passengers. The archaeological team has found many artifacts, including glass fragments from bottles, porcelain items, and 8 bronze scissors used by passengers in the first-class cabin. This discovery highlights a tragic past in Mexico that must be acknowledged and studied in its historical context. The Maya were a powerful civilization in Central America, flourishing across Mexico from around 2000 BCE until they were conquered by the Spanish Empire and enslaved in the 16th century. The conquest erased much of the unique character of the Maya civilization, but many villages remained isolated from colonial rule and continued to preserve their culture. 1,500-year-old sword. In legend, King Arthur's reign was foretold by a woman at the lake who gave him the sword Excalibur. Similarly, 8-year-old Saga Vanecek from Sweden discovered an ancient sword dating back over 1,000 years in a lake. According to archaeologists at the Jönköping's Lands Museum, the sword may originate from the Viking era or even from the time of Arthur in the 5th or 6th century. Moreover, the fact that the young girl shares the name Saga in her surname further suggests she could be destined for a legendary role. Vanecek found the heavily rusted weapon one summer while swimming in Lake Vidöstern in Småland with her family. When she showed the ancient artifact to her family, her father recognized its potential value and asked friends for advice on who to report it to. The father then contacted Annie Rosaine, an archaeologist at the Jönköping's Lands Museum, who immediately returned from her vacation to examine and study the ancient weapon. The sword is about 85 centimeters long and still has remnants of wood and metal around it. However, the reason it was found in Lake Vidöstern remains unclear. When archaeologists searched here a few weeks ago, they found another artifact, a brooch, dating to the same time period as the sword. This shows there is much more we don't yet know about this place. The treasure off the coast of Egypt. A team of underwater archaeologists, led by French marine archaeologist Frank Gaudio, made many new discoveries at the Temple of Amun in the ancient port city of Thonis Herakleion, located in Abukir Bay, Egypt. The team investigated the southern canal of the city, where several massive stone blocks from the temple collapsed during a great flood in the mid-2nd century BCE. The Temple of Amun was where pharaohs came to receive the power of kingship from the supreme gods of ancient Egypt. Valuable artifacts from the temple were uncovered, including silver ritual tools, gold jewelry, and broken jars containing perfume or ointments. These artifacts bear witness to the wealth of the temple and the devotion of the city's ancient residents. Notably, an area dedicated to the Greek goddess Aphrodite was discovered to the east of the temple. Here, the archaeological team found copper and ceramic artifacts, indicating that the Greeks, who were allowed to settle and trade in the city during the Scythe dynasty, also had a place to worship their own gods. Additionally, the discovery of Greek weapons suggests the presence of Greek mercenaries in the area, guarding the entrance to the kingdom at the Canopic branch of the Nile River, the largest and most navigable branch of the river. In addition to these artifacts, the team also found underground structures supported by well-preserved wooden columns and beams dating back to the 5th century BCE. The ruins of the ancient city of Thonis Herakleion were discovered by the European Institute of Underwater Archaeology in 2000. The city now lies underwater, about 7 kilometers off the Egyptian coast. For many centuries, it was Egypt's largest Mediterranean port until Alexander the Great founded the city of Alexandria in 331 BCE. However, rising sea levels and earthquakes, followed by a tsunami, caused widespread liquefaction of the soil, sinking a vast area of about 110 square kilometers of the Nile Delta to the seabed, including Thonis Herakleion. The bodies at the bottom of the mysterious blue hole in the ocean. On April 11, 2019, a chilling discovery took place at the famous Blue Hole in Belize. The research team found the bodies of long-dead divers at the bottom of the hole. Leo Erika Bergman, a renowned explorer, was the first to discover the skeletons of two divers who had been lost in the hole. After the discovery, she immediately alerted local authorities. Upon inspection, they decided to leave the divers' remains undisturbed at the bottom of the sea, a respectful decision for the unfortunate souls. The Blue Hole, one of the world's most famous dive sites, spans over 300 meters wide and reaches depths of up to 125 meters. It is not only a tourist attraction for explorers, but also a place that holds many mysteries. In fact, no one knows exactly how many people have died while trying to explore the hole. Bergman stated that these two divers could be part of a group of 3 people who were recently reported missing. One major danger of the Blue Hole is the harsh environment at such great depths. About 90 meters below the surface, there is a layer of hydrogen sulfide, an extremely toxic and corrosive compound. In this area, the water is oxygen deprived, and the presence of hydrogen sulfide increases the risk of death for those who are unprepared. This is why many divers have had accidents while exploring this area. The Blue Hole is located in Belize City, Belize, and was formed during the Ice Age when sea levels were much lower than they are today. As sea levels rose, the hole became submerged and formed a large system of underwater caves. Scientists believe that the Blue Hole is not only a destination for divers, but also a graveyard for those who perished while attempting to uncover its mysteries. This discovery once again reminds us of the dangers and unsolved mysteries beneath the sea, particularly in areas like the Blue Hole, where not everyone survives after facing nature's challenges. The vast ocean always holds mysterious secrets. In just a short video, we can't reveal all the mysteries that the vast ocean has hidden for thousands, even millions of years. This shows how small we are compared to the countless wonders around us. What do you think of today's topic? Do you know of any other mysterious archaeological sites beneath the ocean? Don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments below for everyone to explore. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications if you enjoy our video. Now, goodbye, and see you next time.